You are tuned in to Kids
in the Pit.
Okay. Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Kids in the Pit podcast. Today I'm joined by Derek of From a Second Story Window. This is my first time in Tokyo, Japan, so...
How you liking it so far?
It's very fun.
Yeah.
What did you do in From a Second Story Window?
Right, so I was a guitar player From a Second Story Window for the first two albums, and me and the bass player Joe, we were the ones that sort of got the things rolling at the beginning, and then we met the other guys and got it going. So you could say I was kind of there from the beginning.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yep.
A lot of fun.
So this is my first time in Japan, like I said earlier, and I'm so excited to be here. When did you move to Japan?
So I came here about 5 years ago, and I came here because I wanted to work with a very unique, specific type of underground musicians here. They're called Japanese idols, and it might seem like a totally weird thing to go from hardcore metal to this. Japanese idols basically are, they're basically like, not younger, they can be all ages, but girls and guys that basically fans really revere and adore and are very passionate about, and their genres range everything from really like death metal all the way to acoustic folk. And I found a similarity in their fans in terms of their passion for the girls that are usually on the stage, because it's usually girls. And it's very similar to the world I came from with hardcore metal many years ago. And so I was like, that's interesting. Plus, I like Japan, so I wanted to move here.
Yeah, Japan's really cool.
Yeah, it can be.
From a Second Story Window form, and do you guys still play shows?
Right, so from a Second Story Window forum, geez, I'm not sure I can even remember the day, but it had to be around the late 90s, like 97, 98 maybe. I don't quote me on that though. As far as playing shows, the band, they kind of disbanded, I want to say around 2006, 2007, somewhere in that neighborhood. But then recently, this year actually, the band members got together to play a reunion show in their hometown area in November. And I think they're getting back together now to do maybe some festivals and things like that. That's what the rumor mill is. I'm not part of the band anymore, so I don't really know for sure what their plans are. I don't think they're going to do any touring or anything, but they did get together after, 15 years, so that was kind of cool. But we were kind of doing our thing back in the early 2000s, kind of like when metalcore was just getting its jump. And my From a Second Story Window did something really, I felt very different. We made music for kids who have ADHD. Our music was just so hyper and crazy. Like, one of our songs had 56 guitar parts in it. Like, it was insane. And we basically, our shows were trying to be like as crazy as possible. Anything goes. I've jumped through windows and been bloody to the point where I couldn't even play anymore.
So you jumped out of second story windows?
First story, but I wanted to do that because that would have been funny, right?
Yep.
But no, we were known for that. We were known for just being completely bonkers. So
yep.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
So how old were you when you started playing guitar?
Oh, actually, you know what? I couldn't afford a guitar. I was really poor growing up, so I wasn't able to afford anything. And I didn't get my first guitar until I was probably 18 or 19. My sister bought me an acoustic Yamaha. And
cool.
Like nylon strings. And what I did was I made it a point to not learn any metal groups because I didn't want to sound, if I were ever make a band, I didn't want them to sound like every other metal group, because a lot of metal groups, they listen to the same 9 or 10 bands and then they try to copy them. So I made it a point to stay far away from that. And what I did was I started listening to like folk music, like acoustic stuff, like stuff that you wouldn't imagine could be connected to metal, and also rap.
Definitely.
Which, weird enough, has a lot of cool beats to it that you could turn into breakdowns. And so what I did was I took a lot of folk music, learned basic folk guitar chords. Then I stopped learning that because I didn't want my songs to sound like them. And then I took all these folk chords and I started coming up with like parts and stuff. Then I down-tuned my guitar. Our guitars are down to an AEA DGA, which is insanely low.
Yeah, that's
it's ridiculous.
Wait, what do you say?
AEA DGA.
Okay, so that's
insane.
yeah. So that would be Pretty much the tuning of a 7-string, but on a 6-string.
You got it. There you go.
And then dropped.
And then dropped even more.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this was before the time. Now guys have like 8 strings and stuff. It's ridiculous, but
it's like a bass.
it's bass. I mean, you might as well just play a bass. I agree. But back then, that was still kind of a novel thing, and I came up with that tuning because it's like a folk tuning. But I thought how cool it would be to drop it down. And when I did, the sounds I was getting were so evil. Like, they just sounded so wrong. Like, you heard it, you felt sick. And I'm like, oh, that's what I want to play.
Yep.
And so I came up with all these acoustic folk songs that I turned into like metal songs because the tuning was so evil. And also, this tuning was cool because like I could punch my guitar, which I did quite often, and the sound that emanated out, it was those 3 A notes. It just sounded ominous, like evil. So I fooled a lot of people into thinking I could actually play guitar when it was the other guy in the band, Rob, the other guitar player who played. I just beat my guitar.
Yep.
So yeah, it was very cool.
So where did you grow up?
So I grew up near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a place me and my band we like to call Ohio-vania because we were right on the border between Pennsylvania and Ohio, and it was also more near the city called Youngstown, which back then was the murder capital of America.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was ghetto and crazy and terrible, and that's one of the reasons I was so poor. But my band grew up in that area, so we called it Ohio-vania, and out of that sprung this thing called Dude Core, which is basically like bros having a good time and like just enjoying life and stuff. So we actually had like hoodies that said Dude Core and stuff. It was pretty funny. Yeah. My band was really funny. So.
Yep. So what is a band that From a Second Story Window has played with that you're proud to admit you've played with them?
Oh, wow. You know, I was humbled with every group we played with, man. I that list is too long to even put up because there wasn't a single band we played with that I didn't feel it was the greatest honor in my life to stand on the stage with them. If I had to drop some names, I think I was really proud of us taking out Job for a Cowboy. We took them out, I think, on their first American tour, or one of their first, and Cattle Decapitation was really cool.
Ooh, yep. That's cool.
We somehow headlined over them, which should not have happened because they're way better than us, but that tour was pretty fun because everybody was real cool. Everybody was real friendly. And then also, of course, we played with Red Core, Between the Buried and Me, Darkest Hour. Just really big juggernaut names in the business that, again, I felt too humbled. But I also like playing with like the small groups that would be kind enough to open our shows when we come on tour. Like, to me, they were in some cases they were more fun because they were so happy to play with us, but they didn't understand. I was so happy to play with them. I was like, oh no, you don't understand. Like I used to do this thing where like people ask me for my autograph. I'm like, no. If I give you my autograph, you got to give me your autograph because I wanted people to understand like the humility of being on stage is very important to playing. Too many rock stars out there, you know, and I hate that with all my heart and soul, and I still do. But playing with all those bands was like, it was so much fun, you know, because I got to see these kids just having a great time, having a good time, and that's what my band was all about. I felt was just come to the show, drink and have a good time, and just party and just make it about enjoying each other, which was really cool because a lot of the dudes in the front row, they were my victims because I would throw my guitar at them. I broke like 3 noses and with my guitar, and instead of getting sued and thrown in jail, those kids wore that as a badge of honor because I did it. But the reason why is because they were my friends. They knew me, you know, like I would never intentionally hurt anybody, but I'm saying our shows were pretty nuts. I mean, it was like anything else. Your mom can attest to that. And she's seen us many times. And I think like one of the things that was really cool was we had this camaraderie with all the fans. Like we'd show up and it was just a big party, you know, kids just waiting. It was fun. So that kind of ties into what your question is. Like, it wasn't even just the bands we played with. It was the people we played for. I thought that was important.
Yep, that's awesome. So what was the first punk, hardcore, or metal show you attended, and how old were you?
Great question. The very first one I went to was Snapcase, and I think they played Erie, Pennsylvania or something, and I had to have been around 18 or 19. Before that, I was like, sadly and embarrassingly, I admit, into like new metal and just stuff like that. I mean, I like Slipknot, I don't know, but... Yeah. I don't know, like, when I saw that Snapcase show, something clicked in my brain. It was like, oh, wait a minute, that's what I need, that right there. Because there was such raw aggression. The singer for Snapcase, Daryl, his voice it like hit me like a ton of bricks. And I started to get into that world from there. And yeah, I was about 18 or 19. That changed everything for me, like everything. And then from there, I started finding like all these groups, like from Trust Kill Records, you know, like Poison the Well and Walls of Jericho, which my band actually toured with after I left. And Ferret Records, which of course had Every Time I Die, Blood Has Been Shed, all these big Nora, all these big greats that back in the day I started to look up to. And eventually I just wanted to go to their shows without having to pay. And so I like, well, I'll make a band and then we'll just open for them because we don't have to pay. But then it turned out they actually liked us. And so we were able to not just open, but tour with them, which was, again, very humbling experience to have happen.
Yep, very cool. So what is your favorite place you've ever toured in?
Probably the best place of all was Memphis, Tennessee. That was like our home away from home. Every time we played there, without exception, the kids went absolutely crazy for us. And one time we played a skate park there, and there had to be over 600 and something kids. You understand, my band wasn't like giant or anything, but to have 600 kids show up to a show we were headlining, it was our show, was unprecedented. And also there was a show we played in Memphis where it's probably my favorite show we've ever did. We had a mutual friend. Our band had a mutual friend whose young boy was dying of cancer. And when we showed up to that show in Memphis, right before we went on, he died. And we got the phone call, and it was just like, what do we do? And so this show actually you can find on YouTube. Our singer Will at the time gave a very passionate speech. Every one of us were very emotional. The fans were emotional. That was probably the greatest show of my life because it meant something more than us. And like everybody was really supportive and kind to us. Like we were all crying. It was very emotional to lose that little boy. And I don't know, that show really, it still sticks with me to this day all these years later. So I'd say Memphis was probably my home away from home.
Nice, that's a good answer. Can't read it. Okay, what is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Strangest thing I've ever eaten? Ooh,
probably something here in Japan because they have some weird food sometimes.
They got some interesting foods here. Yes, they do. Strangest. Well, I ate a chocolate covered grasshopper here.
Huh.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I mean, I would probably eat it, but
yeah,
sounds very odd.
I can't eat insects. I work with a girl though who really likes to eat insects, including cockroaches. She'll eat them. Like she has no problem with it.
Just like raw.
I hope she cooks them. I don't know. I haven't seen her do it, but she says.
But does she like pick them out and like cook them?
Let's hope so. Let's hope. But she's very proud of the fact she has no problem eating like mealworms and all kinds of nasty rodents. But I can't even imagine. I ate the grasshopper on like a dare because somebody dared me to do it, which was really funny. But it was just not something I would recommend. It didn't taste very good. It tasted like, I don't know, if you get sand in your mouth or something at a beach. Ugh.
So was it? I think it was Fort Collins, Colorado. We were seeing Hot One Music and Modern Life is War. They did like a little 2-day thing in Colorado.
Right.
And we went to this like weird like exotic candy store. And I ate like what was it? I don't remember what insect it was. Crickets.
Oh, so you eat crickets. Okay, so I mean you kind of eat
but
crickets.
it was like it had like powder on it. It was like there was a salt and vinegar one. There was like a cheddar or something. I don't know.
Was it all right? Were you okay?
So it tasted good. The texture was horrible.
Yeah, the texture, right? That's what gets me too. Like maybe the taste is not bad, but that texture, you can't get it out of your mouth, man. It's horrible. Yep. No, that's cool. Modern Life is War is great. I love those guys. So that's awesome. No, there's a lot of weird stuff here. There's something here called fugu. Do you know what that is?
It's octopus, right?
Pufferfish.
No. Yes, it's pufferfish.
You eat it, and you could die.
Yes, if they prepare it wrong, you're dead.
No, you're done. Yeah, but it's so expensive. Good luck getting it because it's like super high class. Like gotta have lots of money to eat that.
Well, I'm even if we found a really good deal, I'm not eating that.
That's right.
I don't want to risk dying.
If they had that at McDonald's in Japan, I'd be like, nope, thank you. Give me the Big Mac.
Yeah.
So, gotcha.
Because it's McDonald's. I don't know if they're going to prepare it right.
No, probably not. Good question. That's fun.
Yep. So, what was your favorite TV show or movie when you were my age?
Oh, geez. Great question. Well, I was really, maybe this is one of the reasons I'm here in Japan, but I was really into this show called Robotech, which actually is in Japan it's more known as Macross, which is basically like transforming jets that turn into like giant robot mechs.
So almost like Transformers?
Basically, but before Transformers, because it actually came out before that.
Oh, wow.
But Transformers got their inspiration from it, I'd say. But Robotech was cool because it's the first time as a kid, I saw death. Like, the cartoon showed people dying and blood, and I was like, what is this? Before then, it was like, cute cartoons I would watch. But this is the first time I saw people, like, actually dying on a cartoon show. And then, of course, that led me, it's anime, so that led me into the world of anime. But they actually showed that in America before I used to go to school, which is weird because I don't think they would do that now. But but they didn't, and then it got taken off the air because it was too violent.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Sounds violent.
It was great.
If you could tell your 12-year-old self anything at all, what would you tell him?
Oh, if I could tell my 12-year-old self anything, I would say to, when you get into a band, to do a better job being closer to the band members, because I wasn't, and that was probably my biggest regret, was having to leave my band. And if I was 12 again, I would have advised myself to really focus on the friendship component of being in a band more than anything else. I was more of like a nerd, and like always more, I was into two things when I was in a band. One was making the songs, which took a lot of my time away from being with people, because I would have to lock myself in a room and like write a lot of the stuff, and that was hard. And two, I was really into girls, because it was the first time in my life girls were paying attention to me, because I was a dude in a band, and that was cool. But that also sort of warps your mind. And I think if I was 12, I'd tell myself to watch out. Yep. So watch out.
If you could, would you if you could, would you not have moved to Japan and stayed from a second story window?
Well, if you're
able to go back.
Right. Like, I left from second story window in 2006, and Japan was far off my radar at that point. I never even thought I'd never thought I'd come here and live. It wasn't really like a thing. I came to live here primarily, like I said, to work with these idols and stuff, but also I came here originally to do research because I wrote a fiction horror novel. And my fiction horror novel was set in Hiroshima, Japan. And when I came here, I fell in love with the country. And so then later I came to Tokyo, fell in love with this city because it's amazing. And then I got into the subculture world of the idols, and then I decided I want to live here and work with them. But I mean, yeah, there's not a day in my life I would say I would not go back and change that decision, because looking back, of course, hindsight's always 100%. But I would say I would definitely want to alter how that went down, because I think I had a lot more to say in musically with From a Six Star Window, and I left prematurely. When I left, I was working on a double album, like a concept album, like where one side's super brutal, the other side's super acoustic, because Will, our singer, he could really sing. He had really, really, really great vocals.
Like, you mean like clean singing?
Yeah, his cleans were insane. And he also had these nice mid-range screams. And I'm a big mid-range growl guy. Like, if you could do super, like, inhaled death voice, that's cool. Super high is cool, but he had that nice roar. Yeah. And he didn't have to do the high-low screams like Zayo style, which our previous singer, Sean, did really well. He was good at it, but Will had this nice middle, and so I wanted to really write songs that capitalize on that, but I also want to do really experimental stuff. Like, for example, one song I wanted to write, I wanted to have like 10 drummers in a room and have them each compose different drum parts and have a big solo where it's just the drums. It's drums and me and Rob playing atmospheric stuff.
She sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, right? But if it was coordinated right, it would be beautiful chaos. Mm-hmm. And I was always about the beautiful chaos in our songs. And so I wanted to write stuff like that later. Like our album, Delenda, that we wrote, the second album, the one that I left on, we had a song called Oracles and Doorsteps, and one of the things we had in it was a bunch of girls doing a tough guy hardcore chant part in the middle of a part, because I thought it'd be funny and also kind of counterculture. Like, every time you hear tough guy hardcore, it's always these, we are one, like tough guy dudes. Well, I thought, how cool would it be if you had a bunch of girls doing it? And so I got all these girls to get into a room and do this really tough guy chant, and we put it in the song, and it was like, I had ideas like that I wanted to do more.
Like stuff that people don't do. Exactly.
Because I was too bored with because I get really bored with music pretty fast.
I mean, so it can be repetitive.
It's so repetitive in some cases, for me especially, because I wrote music for ADHD people. So if your songs didn't have, if your songs only had 10 parts, I was bored. So I wanted to have songs that like too ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like Between the Bear and Me, they were similar to us. Their songs their earlier stuff had so many parts, and that's why we toured with them, because we had the same idea and philosophy about music, which is cool.
Yep.
So
yeah, anything to add before we wrap it up?
I think it's really cool what you're doing, man. How old are you? You're 12?
Yep, 12.
Dude, tell me when you get to be old enough to stand on a stage properly that you're going to be doing a hardcore thing or something, man. You got aspirations to play music?
Yeah. I mean, well, so me and my friends are starting a like thrash crossover band.
Nice.
And
Love thrash.
I'm also in my dad's band.
Oh, really? What's
Yeah.
your dad do?
He plays drums.
Drums. Okay, so you're playing guitar?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, well, I would say I would very much like to see you on stage someday. I hope you'll let me come to one of your shows and get me guest pass or something.
Yeah, sure.
And I definitely mean that, man. If I can, if me and your mom stay in touch or whatever, I'd like to definitely support. I think it's amazing. I wish I was 12 doing what you're doing. I wish I had a cool mom that showed me music like that, because like I said, I was into weird stuff at 12. But it's cool that you're like into that now. I would say one thing to you: study the old people, study bands like mine or all the bands that I grew up around, because I think from there you're gonna get a good grounding and basis of what came before you, so you realize how to make good music based off that. That's the one thing I would tell you, is that if you're gonna be writing songs, know the people that came before you.
I like a lot of old stuff.
Great. There's a saying that if you want to see into the future, you have to stand on the shoulders of those that came before you, and so I would say do that.
Yep, like DRI, Bad Religion.
Great, sure.
I like Ramones, kinda.
Sure. Yeah.
They're
really
not
great.
like, I don't know them. I'm not a huge Ramones fan, but I know some songs.
Sure. Well,
and
I mean,
they're good. But
they laid the
I know a ton
foundation.
of old stuff.
Right. They laid the foundation for everything, and so studying that foundation can actually help you understand what you're going to build. And so I think it's not, and don't just study them because you want to be hip and sound cool. Like, don't be like that, but like really get into it and like pay tribute, respect to that, and like all the people that came before you. And I think from there, the music you'll make will be pure.
Yep.
That's what I tried to do. And I think I stand by everything we wrote. It's all, I felt very, very much from here. And that's one thing. If you have 3 chords in the truth, that's all that matters. So even at the end of the day, if you're not coming up with the most ingenious or innovative thing, it doesn't matter. If your heart's there, all that matters. So, not to sound cheesy, but, play with your heart, and I hope I get to see you when you do it. So,
yeah.
All right, man.
So, Derek, okay. Thanks to Derek for joining me today, and thanks to all of you for watching or listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Until next week, bye!
See you later.